The sun of the Varless world rose slowly above the tall crystal trees, shining down on a village built with stone and metal. The Varless tribe lived here for many generations. Their culture was honorable and strong. Their warriors were proud and loud. They loved to talk about their victories and history. Today was one of the biggest days in their camp. Today was the wedding of Tom, a human man, and Mira, a young Varless woman. The tribe decorated the center of the village with banners and glowing stones. Children ran around, laughing and pointing at the humans who visited from far worlds. Tom stood near the ceremony platform, quiet and calm. He breathed slowly, feeling the heavy eyes of the tribe on him. Humans were rare visitors here. They were often described as quiet, focused, and careful. Many aliens saw this as odd behavior. Tom did not mind. He was used to quiet. Mira walked out wearing traditional robes made of soft, glowing cloth. Her eyes were bright and her hair was tied with silver rings. She moved with confidence and pride, knowing dozens were watching her. The tribe's musicians played strange but beautiful instruments that hummed like wind. The elders stood near the platform, waiting for both to stand side by side. When Tom and Mira stood together, the crowd whispered. Some smiled politely. Others squinted at the human man. They were unsure why a Varless warrior would marry someone so silent. Mira looked at Tom and smirked, then whispered to her friend beside her. Her whisper was not quiet enough. He looks like he is afraid to speak, Mira said. Her friend giggled, and a few nearby tribe members chuckled too. Tom heard it. His ears burned, but his face stayed calm. He kept his arms behind his back, standing strong. He was silent, not because he had nothing to say, but because he believed words should have meaning. The elder raised his staff and tapped the platform. The humming stopped. All voices fell silent. The elder spoke with deep tone. Today we gather to join two together, Mira of Varless, Tom of Earth. May this bond bring peace between tribes and worlds. May both respect strength and honor. Mira raised her chin proudly. Tom nodded politely. The elder turned to Mira first. Do you accept this bond with respect and honor? Mira replied loudly. I do. I will guide him and show him our ways. Some of the tribe laughed quietly again. Mira enjoyed the attention, feeling as if she stood above the silent human. Then the elder turned to Tom. Do you accept this bond with respect and honor? Tom answered with calm voice. I do. I will stand beside her. I will protect her and this tribe as long as breath remains in me. His voice was steady, controlled, and strong. The elder nodded, surprised by the weight in Tom's tone. Mira rolled her eyes a little, thinking he was trying to sound dramatic. After the ceremony, food and music filled the village. Long tables were decorated with alien fruit, bright flowers, and plates of colorful meat. Warriors sat together, boasting about past battles. They laughed loudly, thumping their fists on tables. Tom sat near them, eating silently. His eyes moved calmly, studying everything. Mira sat beside him, enjoying attention from her friends. One warrior named Zan leaned forward and asked Mira, "Does he ever speak loudly?" Mira laughed. "He thinks speaking quietly is wise. He believes silence is power." Another warrior shook his head in disbelief. "Humans must be strange. A warrior must roar. A warrior must shout so all know his strength." Mira nodded with pride. "Exactly. He is too quiet to be strong." Tom took a slow breath, but he did not answer. His silence bothered them even more. Children came near, poking gently at Tom's cloak. They asked questions quickly, curious about humans. "Why do you not talk much?" one child asked. Tom smiled softly and replied, "Because when I speak, I want others to listen." The children stared at him, thinking deeply. One nodded as if understanding, but adults around the table only shook their heads. As the night continued, the feast reached its loudest moment. Drums pounded, warriors danced, and glowing dust rose in the air. Tom excused himself quietly and stepped outside the circle of noise. He enjoyed quiet places. He walked near the edge of the village, gazing at the distant mountains. Their peaks sparkled from the rising twin moons. Tom rested his hand on the hilt of the old blade he kept at his side. It was simple in shape, but the metal was strong, forged by human blacksmiths. He only carried it for defense. It never left his side. The tribe had not noticed before. They assumed humans preferred tools, not blades. While Tom enjoyed the quiet, Mira followed secretly. She crossed her arms and smiled at him. "Why do you stand alone?" she asked. Tom answered softly, I wanted to breathe fresh air. The noise was heavy. Mira laughed gently. You sound like an old elder. A warrior must enjoy sound in life. Tom turned his eyes back to the mountains. A warrior must enjoy life, yes. But noise does not always mean life. Mira frowned a little. She did not understand his meaning. She walked around him slowly. My father says humans are clever but weak in battle. He says they hide behind machines. Is that true? Tom kept his voice calm. Humans are many things. Some use machines. Some use weapons. Some use only their minds. We fight when we must, not for show. Mira smirked. That sounds very soft. Tom did not answer. His silent stare toward the mountains made Mira uncomfortable. She expected him to defend himself loudly, but he did not. Suddenly, a distant horn echoed from the far hills. Tom's hand tightened on his blade. Mira's eyes widened. She recognized that sound. It was a scout signal. More horns followed, closer and louder. Warriors jumped from their seats, grabbing weapons. The drum stopped. All dancing ended. The feast fell silent. The elder raised his staff again, voice trembling. We are under threat. Drow scouts are near our borders. The tribe gasped. The Drow were a rival clan known for raids. They were aggressive, unpredictable, and fearless. The warriors of Varlas prepared quickly, but their movements were chaotic. Mira's father, Chief Arno, shouted orders. Form defense lines. Move the wounded to shelter. Warriors scattered in different directions, not fully prepared. Tom walked back into the center, watching the panic. His mind formed patterns, strategies. He noticed weak points in their defense where the Drow could strike easily. He approached Chief Arno respectfully. Chief, your west gate is open. Close it. Move archers to the ridges. Light the high lamps to blind incoming riders. Arno stared in surprise. Why would a human know this? Tom answered simply. Humans study threats quietly. We observe before we act. Arno hesitated, then nodded. Do it! Warriors followed the new plan. Mira watched from a distance, confused. She never expected her quiet husband to speak with such clarity. Her earlier laughter now felt small. As torches lit and weapons stood ready, Mira walked up to Tom slowly. You seem different tonight. Please tell me, are you certain this plan works? Tom looked at her calmly. It will give you time. Preparation is strength. She looked away for a moment, ashamed of her earlier words. The tribe watched Tom as he moved from guard to guard, checking positions and walls silently. His expression remained calm even as distant dust clouds appeared. The Drow were coming. Warriors trembled, expecting loud speeches from Tom. Instead, he only nodded to them and tapped their weapons firmly, giving silent confidence. Somehow that was enough. The first crash of hooves shook the ground. The Drow war cries echoed through the valley. Mira's heart raced. She hid behind a shield wall, gripping her spear. Tom stood at the front, blade still sheathed. His quiet stance confused enemies and allies alike. When Mira saw him, her voice cracked. Why are you not afraid? Tom answered. Fear is normal. Panic is not. We stand, we breathe, we act. As the enemy riders charged closer, Tom finally raised his blade, but he did not swing it yet. He waited for the right moment. His calm face made the warriors around him breathe easier. The tribe's defense now had structure. Tom's silence guided them stronger than loud speeches ever would. The first clash shook the gate. Warriors screamed, pushing back enemy blades. Tom stepped forward, blocking one strike and pushing the attacker back with controlled movement. Mira watched him closely. Each step he took seemed planned, not wild. Each breath was measured. The tribe fought through the night. Tom never yelled, never bragged. He only acted with precision. When the Drow retreated for the moment, catching their breath, the tribe cheered loudly. But their cheers quieted when they saw Tom's calm expression. It was not over. As torches flickered and the wind carried the smell of smoke, Mira stepped closer again. Her voice was soft this time. Why are you so quiet even in war? Tom answered gently. Because chaos grows when voices rise without thought. A quiet mind guides the blade better. Mira looked down, her pride shaken. For the first time, she wondered if silence could be powerful. Night deepened, but Tom stood strong at the front line, watching the horizon with silent eyes. The tribe waited. The second wave would come soon, and Tom was ready. Night covered the Varlas village like a dark blanket. The air was cold and smelled of smoke from the fires that burned along the walls. Warriors stood with tense bodies, holding spears and shields tightly, They whispered to each other about the Droll riders who attacked just moments ago. Many of them had never seen such aggression before. Now they waited for a second wave, hearts beating fast. Tom stood near the broken gate where wood splinters lay scattered on the ground. He kept his blade sheathed again, watching the enemy movement quietly. His calm face made the warriors curious and uneasy. They wondered how a human could stay so focused. Tom breathed slowly, counting each breath, centering his thoughts. He looked around the walls, checking every weak point. His eyes caught every detail, every crack, every shadow. Mira moved carefully through the camp, checking the wounded. She offered bandages and water to those who needed it. Many warriors thanked her with weak smiles. She stood tall, but her mind was troubled. Earlier she had laughed at Tom's silence. Now she saw that same silence bringing order and strength. She felt confusion twisting inside her. She did not like to feel wrong. When Mira looked across the yard, she saw Tom talking softly to Chief Arno. They stood close to a large map drawn on the ground with chalk. Tom pointed to several paths leading to the village. Arno listened closely, nodding slowly. Tom suggested placing archers on the higher towers, sending scouts to the forest edge, and preparing a second shield wall behind the main gate. The chief was surprised by Tom's clear ideas. Arno looked at him closely. "You speak like one who has seen many battles," Tom replied modestly. "I have studied many. Humans learn from every defeat. Every mistake teaches something new." Mira listened from a distance. She felt a strange pride in her chest. Tom's voice was calm, but it carried strong meaning. The tribe followed Tom's suggestions quickly. Archers climbed the towers. Shield bearers formed a second line near the center. Scouts disappeared into the shadows beyond the walls. The tribe's fear began to fade as they found purpose. A young warrior approached Tom nervously. "The Droll are regrouping. More riders are gathering near the valley entrance." Tom nodded. "Stay focused. Do not let fear speak louder than reason." The young warrior bowed respectfully, then rushed away to tell others. Mira walked to Tom carefully. She spoke with softer tone now. "You are guiding us well. I did not expect this from someone so quiet." Tom looked at her with gentle eyes. Silence lets the mind see what noise hides. Mira lowered her eyes, feeling humbled. Before she could answer, a deep horn echoed from the valley. The sound carried through trees and rocks, shaking the air. The Droll were coming again. Their flames lit up the hill paths. Their drums beat like thunder. The tribe tensed instantly. Archers drew arrows. Spears lowered. Shields locked together. Tom stood at the front, blade still waiting in his hand. His heart remained steady. The Droll riders charged across the valley floor, shouting battle cries. Their armor was dark and shaped like sharp shells. They moved fast on large beasts with horned heads. They swung curved spears, aiming for the gates. Tom raised his hand. Hold now." At his signal, archers released a rain of arrows. Dozens of arrows flew through the darkness, striking the front line of riders. Several beasts stumbled, throwing riders to the ground. The Droll's charge slowed. Warriors cheered, gaining confidence. Tom stepped forward. "Push the shield wall." The shield wall advanced slowly, like a moving wall of metal. The Droll riders crashed against it, but the tribe held firm. Their movements were disciplined because Tom guided them with simple gestures and short commands. Mira fought near the left flank, defending the archers who reloaded their arrows. She moved quickly, blocking strikes and countering with swift thrusts. She saw Tom fighting at the center. His blade cut cleanly, never wasted energy. He did not yell or boast like Varless warriors. He moved quietly with purpose. The enemy pushed harder. More riders joined the battle, surrounding the left side. Mira felt her arm grow tired. A Droll warrior swung his spear toward her chest. She stumbled backward, nearly falling. Before the spear could reach her, Tom appeared, blocking the strike with his blade. The sound rang like metal singing. Tom pushed the enemy back with one strong movement. Mira stared at him, stunned. His face was calm. His eyes focused. "Stay behind the shield line," he said gently. Mira nodded, breathless, realizing how close she was to danger. The battle lasted many minutes. The sound of metal echoed through the valley. Dust rose into the air. Warriors sweated and groaned under heavy effort. But gradually the Droll riders lost momentum. Their beasts tired. Their line broke. Tom lifted his blade high. "Advance." The tribe pushed forward together. The Droll fell back, retreating into the darkness beyond the valley. When the last horn sounded from the enemy, The tribe shouted with relief. Warriors clapped each other's shoulders. Archers rested their bows. The shield wall lowered. Mira stood still, breathing hard. She looked at Tom, who wiped his blade clean, then sheathed it quietly. He did not celebrate loudly. He simply nodded at those around him. And strangely, that small nod felt more powerful than any roar. Chief Arno raised his staff. Tonight we have defended our home. Thanks to guidance from our ally from Earth, let us rebuild our strength. The tribe cheered. They looked at Tom with new respect. Some bowed slightly. Others touched their hearts as a sign of honor. Food and water were passed out to all who fought. The wounded were carried to the healing tents. Mira walked beside Tom, offering water. She hesitated before speaking. You saved me. Thank you, Tom replied calmly. You fought bravely. Protecting your tribe brings honor. Mira looked away, unsure how to answer. His words felt heavy with meaning. She wondered how she ever thought him weak. As the tribe rebuilt broken walls, Tom walked near the edge of the village again. He checked the forest carefully. His eyes narrowed. He listened to the wind. He did not hear birds or night insects. The forest was too quiet. Mira approached him again. Are you worrying again? Tom shook his head slowly. Not worrying, listening, something is wrong. He pointed to the tree line. The Drawl do not retreat far. They will return. With more. Mira felt chills run through her. You think the main army is coming? Tom nodded. They tested us. They will attack at dawn. We must prepare more. Mira ran to tell her father. Arno listened, then ordered his warriors to strengthen defenses. Torches were placed at every corner. Archers stayed in towers. Scouts patrolled continuously. The village prepared for a long night. Tom rested only for a moment. He drank a small cup of water, then stood again. He walked along the ramparts, guiding warriors with short gestures. He adjusted arrow piles near archers. He corrected shield positions. He checked rope traps near the walls. Every small improvement mattered. Mira watched him from a distance. She saw no fear in his face. She saw patience, strategy, and something else she could not name. She realized she hardly knew him. Earlier she believed silence was weakness, but now she understood it held deep strength. As dawn approached, soft orange light touched the mountain peaks. The air was cold and heavy. Warriors stiffened as they saw shapes moving far away in the valley. Many Drawl banners flapped in the rising wind. This time there were more riders, more beasts, and many warriors on foot carrying heavy axes and shields. Tom stood at the front again. He whispered to the warrior beside him. Remember, slow breath, steady hands, think before you strike. The warrior nodded firmly. Chief Arno raised his staff and shouted orders. Archers ready. Shields up. Hold the line. The tribe prepared. Mira swallowed hard, gripping her spear. She stood near Tom, feeling safer close to him. The Drawl army advanced slowly, confident, drums beating louder each second. Then the ground shook as the charge began. Mira heard her heart pounding. Everyone braced for impact, but Tom raised his blade high and shouted one word. Now. Archers released their arrows. Rope traps snapped, tripping enemy legs. The shield wall absorbed the first wave. The tribe moved as one, guided by hours of planning. Mira gasped. She had never seen her tribe fight with such coordination. Tom stepped forward again, blade gleaming with sunrise. His voice was calm. Hold your ground. Victory comes with patience. The second battle had begun, and this time the tribe felt hope. The morning light cut through the mist over the valley. Warriors of the Varless tribe were lined up on the ramparts, shields raised, eyes sharp. The first wave of Drowl had fallen back, but their retreating shadows gave no comfort. Tom stood at the front, his blade still sheathed. He scanned the field carefully, noting the enemy's position. The Drawl were regrouping faster than expected, moving like a dark river across the valley. Dust rose from their hooves, and the sound of their drums shook the ground with a low, steady thrum. Mira stood close to Tom, her hands tightened around her spear. There are too many of them, she said quietly, though her voice carried the tension of the rising sun. Tom nodded, his expression calm, almost serene. Strength is not in numbers, he said softly. Strength is in order, control, and focus. Follow my lead. Mira watched him, unsure what he meant. She had grown up seeing warriors boast loudly, throwing themselves at enemies with force, not thought. Tom's quiet manner seemed fragile at first, but now it carried a strange weight. The Drawl advanced steadily, and the Varlese warriors tensed. Chief Arno raised his staff and shouted, "Hold your lines! Let them break on our shields." The warriors gripped their weapons tightly. Tom moved through the ranks, touching shoulders, pointing to archers and shield bearers. He made no loud commands, only small gestures. Yet the tribe moved as if guided by a single mind. Archers aimed at the highest cliffs. Ropes were tightened across the ground and traps were adjusted. Every small preparation counted. Then came the first clash of the day. The Drawl charged forward with axes raised. Their horses were strong, their riders fierce. The sound of metal striking metal echoed like thunder. Warriors grunted and shouted, holding the line, but the enemy's numbers pressed against them. Mira saw her fellow fighters stumble under the sudden force. Her own spear met a Drawl axe, and she pushed hard to keep balance. Tom stepped forward, finally unsheathing his blade. It was a human sword, simple in shape but perfectly balanced. Its metal caught the sunlight, glinting sharply. The tribe stared in shock. They had never seen a human carry a weapon like this. To the Varlas, humans were quiet thinkers, not active warriors. Yet here Tom stood calm and poised, ready to face the enemy directly. Mira's eyes widened. "Is he going to fight alone?" she whispered to herself. Tom did not answer. He took a slow breath and moved forward. His blade flashed as he blocked the first strike from a Drawl warrior. The sound of metal clashing rang clearly across the battlefield. Each movement was precise, measured. He did not waste energy. He did not shout. He simply acted. The Drawl hesitated, surprised by his speed and control. They had expected humans to be weak, to stumble in the chaos. Instead, Tom moved like a shadow among the warriors. He deflected blows, struck when necessary, and guided the Varlas fighters with subtle gestures. With every movement, the tribe became stronger, more organized. His silence was no weakness, it was focus. Mira felt her chest tighten with a mix of awe and fear. One Drawl champion approached, larger and more heavily armored than the rest. He swung a massive axe with the strength of 10 men. Warriors nearby stumbled under the force. Mira felt her heart race as she saw him aim for Tom. The human did not flinch. He sidestepped the attack and deflected it with a single precise strike. Sparks flew. The Drawl's axe clanged against Tom's blade, but Tom's calm stance did not waver. With a swift movement, he pushed the enemy backward, unbalancing him. The Drawl champion fell to one knee, shocked by the human's skill. Mira gasped. She had never seen a warrior fight like this. The pride and loudness of the Varlis did not compare to the quiet power Tom displayed. He did not attack recklessly. He waited for the right moment, using the enemy's force against them. Every strike was measured, every defense exact. He was a storm contained in silence. The Drawl began to retreat, but not before regrouping into a tighter formation. They moved as if they had learned to fear the human warrior. Tom did not chase them. Instead, he gestured for the Varlas to hold. Archers released another volley of arrows, striking the Drawl's horses and shields. The enemy stumbled, disorganized by the combination of strategy and human precision. Mira moved beside Tom, her eyes following his every movement. "How are you so calm?" she asked, though the battle made her voice tremble. Tom did not look at her. "Calm is the mind seeing clearly. Fear comes from confusion, not danger," he replied quietly. Mira realized then that he was teaching the tribe without words. Each action was a lesson. Every movement showed them how to fight not with anger, but with intelligence. The Drawl pressed forward again, this time trying to surround the left flank. Mira ran to help the archers, blocking attacks that came too close. Tom noticed the maneuver and adjusted the shield wall with small movements and precise instructions. Warriors followed without hesitation. The Drawl could not predict their coordinated defense. Their confidence wavered. They began to make mistakes. Suddenly, a Drawl soldier broke through the left side, charging toward Mira. She raised her spear but hesitated. Tom saw the movement. He stepped forward, cutting a path through 2 enemy soldiers with swift precision. He reached Mira's side and blocked the final strike with the flat of his blade. The soldier fell backward, surprised by the sudden human intervention. Mira stared at him breathless. Her earlier mockery of his silence felt foolish. Here was a warrior whose quiet mind guided action better than noise or anger. The battle continued for hours. Dust and sweat covered the warriors. Cries of pain mixed with the clash of weapons. Yet the Varlas tribe moved with increasing confidence. Their coordination, guided by Tom's calm commands, made them stronger than ever. He did not shout or boast. He moved quietly, letting his actions speak for him. The Drawl could not understand this human. They expected fear, but they faced control. They expected chaos, but they faced order. At one point, a large Droll group charged the center line. Tom stepped forward. His sword flashed in the sunlight. He struck with perfect timing, pushing them back. Each movement was efficient, precise, and deadly. Warriors followed his lead, and together they forced the enemy to retreat from the center. Mira fought beside him, inspired by his example. She moved faster, aimed more carefully, and defended her fellow warriors with renewed strength. The Droll realized that the human was not an ordinary opponent. They tried to regroup, but each attack was met with careful defense and calculated strikes. Tom's blade seemed to move as if it were part of him, predicting every enemy movement. The tribe began to cheer quietly as they saw the Droll falter. They felt hope return. The human they had once doubted was now their guiding force. By noon, the Droll were in full retreat. Many of their riders fled toward the distant hills. The Varlis tribe stood on the battlefield, breathing heavily but alive. Their shields were dented, their armor scratched, but they had won. Mira approached Tom slowly, her eyes wide with awe. I did not know humans could fight like this, she said softly. I thought your silence meant weakness. Now I see, it is strength. Tom nodded, sheathing his blade. Strength comes in many forms, he said quietly. Some speak loudly. Some act with focus. Actions carry more weight than words. Mira felt shame and pride together. She had mocked him before, but now she could see his true nature. Her respect for him grew in a way she had never expected. Chief Arno approached, raising his staff. This human, he is no ordinary warrior. Today he saved our tribe. The elders nodded in agreement. Tom remained calm, not seeking praise. His focus was still on the horizon, anticipating any remaining threats. The tribe began to regroup, tending to the wounded and reinforcing their defenses. Mira walked beside Tom, helping where she could. You fought with us, but you also led us, she said. Tom looked at her, calm and steady. Leadership is not about noise. It is about understanding the situation and guiding others. Everyone has a role. When we trust each other, we are stronger. As the sun climbed higher, the valley quieted. The Droll had fled, leaving only dust and distant echoes. Tom stood at the front, surveying the battlefield. Mira watched him silently. She understood now why humans were feared across many worlds. It was not brute strength that made them powerful, but their mind, discipline, and focus. A human could strike silently, think clearly, and turn the tide of war without shouting or boasting. The Varlis warriors gathered around Tom, offering gratitude and bows. Mira stepped forward, standing beside him. She felt a deep change within herself. Her laughter and mockery had been replaced by respect. She realized that silence could be more commanding than any roar. Tom's calm presence had shown them all that power was not always loud, and true strength came from the mind as much as the body. The battle had ended, but the tribe would remember this day forever. Mira looked at Tom, the human she had once doubted. She knew now that her husband's silence was not weakness but a secret weapon, and in the quiet, he had revealed a power that no one had expected. The sun was high in the sky, burning bright over the Varlis village. The battle had paused for a moment, but the air remained tense. Warriors moved carefully, checking their weapons and bandages while archers climbed higher towers for better visibility. Dust from the first clash still lingered in the air, carried by a soft wind. Tom stood near the center of the camp, his hands resting lightly on his blade. He watched the valley with steady eyes, anticipating the next movement of the Droll. Mira walked beside him, her spear ready, eyes scanning the horizon. The lessons of the morning had changed her. She no longer mocked him. Instead, she observed his calm control with respect. Chief Arno approached, sweat on his brow, concern on his face. The Droll will not retreat so easily. They are gathering more soldiers. Many will try to attack our weaker flanks. Tom nodded. We cannot let fear guide us. We must strengthen our positions and guide the warriors calmly. Panic will lose us this fight. Arno hesitated. The tribe is shaken. They may not listen as they did before. Tom's calm gaze met his. They will listen if we lead clearly. Noise is not leadership. Action is. Arno's face softened with understanding. Tom's confidence was not arrogance. It was knowledge, experience, and quiet authority. Mira followed Tom as he moved from group to group, speaking softly to each warrior. He adjusted shields, guided archers to better positions, and reminded spear-bearers to stay focused. His voice was low, but every word had meaning. The Varlis warriors began to find order again. moving as a single unit rather than scattered fighters. Mira felt pride growing in her chest. She remembered her laughter from the first day of the ceremony, mocking his silence. Now that laughter felt foolish. Tom's quiet focus was a force greater than words. The drawl reappeared at the valley's edge. Dust rose from hundreds of hoofs. Their banners flapped violently in the wind, dark shapes moving like a storm. Tom observed carefully, noticing patterns in their formation. "They are testing us," he said softly to Mira. "They do not expect order. They will try to break our sides first." Mira nodded. She trusted him. She had learned that his calm eyes could see what others could not. She moved to adjust the left flank, urging warriors to strengthen their shields. Tom walked to the center, his blade now drawn, catching the sunlight. It reflected a bright line across his focused face. The drawl charged again. This time they aimed for the village's edges, hoping to surround the Varlis. Warriors gripped their weapons tightly, breathing fast. Mira stood beside Tom, feeling tension in every muscle. She noticed how the human moved calmly, each step measured, each motion deliberate. When a drawl rider swung a heavy axe toward a nearby warrior, Tom was already there, blocking the strike with precision. Sparks flew and the enemy stumbled. Tom's movements were fast, controlled, and perfect. Mira felt awe. He had turned the battlefield into a place of order, guiding warriors with his calm mind rather than loud shouts. Tom moved quickly between the lines, correcting mistakes, guiding archers, and raising shields. The drawl were growing confused. They expected panic and chaos. Instead, they faced discipline and intelligence. One drawl soldier broke through the left flank, charging toward Mira. Before she could react, Tom was there, stepping between her and the enemy. With one clean motion, he deflected the attack and struck the soldier's weapon aside. The drawl fell backward, surprised by the quiet human. Mira realized she had never felt this level of protection from anyone. His silence carried strength more than any shout could. The battle raged for hours. Dust, sweat, and blood mixed on the battlefield. The drawl tried again and again, aiming for the flanks and weak points. Every time, Tom's careful planning and sharp eye guided the tribe to respond correctly. He did not panic. He did not shout. His calm presence alone inspired the warriors to act with discipline. Mira noticed how each movement of his blade inspired the tribe. Every strike was precise, every block controlled. The drawl could not predict the human's actions. At one point, the drawl commander, a massive warrior with dark armor, charged straight at Tom. The Varlis shield line wavered slightly. Mira's heart skipped. The commander swung a huge axe, aiming to break through. Tom did not flinch. He sidestepped, letting the commander's momentum carry him forward, then used a swift strike to force him back. The enemy stumbled off balance. The tribe cheered quietly, moving with renewed courage. Mira felt her chest swell with pride. Tom was not just fighting. He was teaching them, guiding them, showing them what true strength meant. Meanwhile, other drawl soldiers attempted to sneak around the back. Tom noticed subtle movements in the dust and shadows. He signaled archers with one hand. A volley of arrows struck the hidden soldiers, preventing them from breaking the Varlis lines. Mira watched silently, realizing how observant and calm he was. Every danger was seen, every mistake corrected, yet Tom never lost composure. His quiet mind was sharper than the drawl's loud battle cries. As the sun climbed higher, the battle reached its peak. Drawl warriors had gathered their strength for a final push. They focused on the center, hoping to crush the human leading the Varlis. Tom stood firm. He did not move until the right moment. When the first wave of soldiers reached him, he acted with swift precision, blocking strikes, pushing enemies back, and guiding the warriors beside him. The Varlis moved as one, shield and spear, archers and foot soldiers all coordinated. Tom's silent leadership had turned panic into order, chaos into structure. Mira fought beside him, inspired by his control. She moved faster, aimed more accurately, and shielded weaker fighters. She noticed how the tribe now trusted the human completely. Warriors who had mocked him earlier now looked to him for direction. Tom's quiet strength had earned their respect. He did not need to speak loudly. His actions were louder than any words. The drawl commander returned, roaring fiercely, swinging his axe with all his strength. Tom faced him calmly. He did not strike immediately. He watched the enemy's movement, waiting for the perfect moment. Then, with a swift, precise motion, he disarmed the commander, sending the massive axe clanging to the ground. The enemy's eyes widened in shock. Tom held his blade ready, pointing calmly at the defeated warrior. The drawl commander bowed his head slightly. a silent acknowledgement of Tom's skill. The other Droll soldiers faltered, unsure how to respond. Chief Arno stepped forward. "This human? He shows wisdom and power beyond what we imagined," he said. The tribe cheered, feeling hope rise again. Mira looked at Tom, her eyes wide. She felt a deep change within herself. The man she had once mocked for silence was now the center of her tribe's strength. His calm mind, precise actions, and unwavering focus had turned the tide of battle. The Droll began to retreat, realizing they could not break the Varless lines. Warriors pursued cautiously, but Tom signaled them to hold. "Do not chase recklessly," he said softly. "Focus, maintain order." The tribe obeyed, following his calm guidance. Their discipline prevented traps or ambushes, and soon the battlefield was quiet again. Dust rose slowly in the air, and the Droll disappeared beyond the hills. Mira walked beside Tom, still catching her breath. "You were incredible," she said quietly. "I thought your silence was weakness. Now I see it as strength." Tom nodded. "Silence allows the mind to see clearly. Words cannot always lead. Action does." Mira realized the truth in his words. She had learned an important lesson. Leadership was not about shouting or boasting. It was about seeing, understanding, and guiding. Tom had shown her the power of quiet strength. The tribe gathered near the center of the camp, cheering softly, tending to the wounded, and repairing shields. Warriors spoke among themselves about the human who had changed the course of the battle. Chief Arno raised his staff. "Let all remember this day. Today we saw true courage and wisdom. Humans are not as weak as some believed. Strength can be silent." The tribe cheered again, louder this time. Mira stood beside Tom, proud of him and grateful for his calm guidance. Tom lowered his blade and sheathed it carefully. He did not celebrate loudly. His focus remained on the horizon. Mira followed him quietly, noticing how his calm presence continued to inspire others. She realized she had underestimated him. His silence was not absence. It was preparation, patience, and control. It had guided the tribe to victory and saved countless lives. By afternoon, the battlefield was nearly empty. The Varless had held their ground and the Droll had retreated completely. Warriors cleaned their weapons, repaired armor, and helped the wounded. Mira looked at Tom, finally understanding the true nature of his strength. He had not fought for glory or praise. He had fought to guide, protect, and teach. And in doing so, he had won not only the battle but the respect of the entire tribe. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with warm colors, Mira stood beside Tom. "I will not mock you again," she said softly. "I see now that your silence carries more power than any shout." Tom nodded, offering a small, quiet smile. Mira felt a sense of peace. The tribe had survived. They had won. And she had learned to respect the quiet strength that humans could possess. The sun rose slowly over the valley, casting golden light across the Varless village. After the long battle, the tribe was quiet but relieved. The wounded were cared for, the walls repaired, and the banners lifted again. A sense of calm had returned, but it was different now. The tribe had learned something new. They had seen how a human, quiet and measured, could guide them to victory. Mira walked beside Tom as he inspected the village, his blade sheathed and his eyes alert. Every step he took was calm, confident, and purposeful. The morning breeze rustled through the crystal trees, carrying the scent of fresh metal and earth. Mira felt a deep respect for the man beside her. Chief Arno approached, his face lined with both relief and admiration. "Tom," he said, his voice steady, "you have done more than fight. You have taught us strength beyond arms. Today, the tribe has learned that calm mind and focused action can turn the tide of war. I thank you." Tom bowed his head slightly. "I only acted as needed," he replied softly. "Your people fought bravely. I only guided." Mira looked at him, remembering the first day of the ceremony when she had mocked his silence. Now that memory felt distant and foolish. Warriors gathered in the village square. They were dusty, tired, and worn, but their eyes shone with pride. They approached Tom one by one, bowing and offering words of gratitude. Some touched their hearts, others simply nodded. For the first time, Mira noticed a quiet awe among the Varless. They had seen the power of controlled action. Words were no longer needed. Tom's calm presence had earned their respect. Mira followed, standing beside him, her own pride swelling. She had learned the value of patience, observation, and silent strength. A young warrior named Jaro approached cautiously. I watched you fight," he said, voice trembling slightly. "Your movements were perfect. I do not understand how a human can move so quickly and stay so calm. Tom smiled faintly. Focus comes from understanding. Observe, plan, act. Fear clouds the mind. Control clears it. You will learn if you try. Jarrow nodded, looking thoughtful. He had trained under loud, boisterous leaders before, but Tom had shown him a new kind of strength, one that did not need shouting or prideful displays. Mira helped the tribe distribute food and water. She moved beside Tom, who guided others quietly, showing them where to place supplies and how to strengthen walls for future attacks. The Varlas followed instructions without question. The trust they had developed in Tom was stronger than fear or doubt. Mira realized that his calm guidance had done more than win a battle. It had shaped the hearts and minds of the tribe. Her respect for him deepened. She remembered her own laughter from the first day and smiled, a little ashamed but grateful for the lesson learned. By midday, the village was organized. Warriors trained again, not with noise or brash movements, but with discipline and focus. Archers practiced precise shots, shield-bearers adjusted their stance, and scouts shared careful observations. Tom walked through them, offering subtle guidance with quiet words or small gestures. Mira followed, learning from him, helping to coordinate and silently absorbing his methods. The entire village moved as if guided by a single mind. It was not chaos or pride that made them strong now. It was understanding, trust, and calm discipline. A messenger arrived from a neighboring village. He reported that the Drawl had fled farther than expected, and that their forces were regrouping in a distant valley. Chief Arno frowned. They may return in greater numbers. We must be ready. Tom listened carefully. He looked at the mountains and valleys surrounding the village. They will attack where we are weakest, he said calmly. But now we know our strength. We can prepare and hold our ground. Do not let fear dictate your actions. Plan, train, and observe. We will not be caught off guard again. Mira approached Tom, looking at him with curiosity. Do you ever tire of being so calm? She asked softly. Tom glanced at her, eyes steady. Calm is not absence of feeling. Calm is control of it. Anger, fear, or pride only harm judgment. A clear mind sees danger and opportunity alike. Mira nodded slowly. She realized she had spent her life under leaders who shouted to inspire fear or courage. Tom had shown her a new way. One could inspire with quiet strength. One could win battles and hearts with thoughtfulness and patience. Her admiration for him grew with every passing moment. The village elders gathered in the main hall, calling Tom forward. They bowed respectfully. You have proven that humans are warriors beyond our expectations, one elder said. Your calm, measured actions saved our tribe. We wish to honor you. Tom shook his head slightly, voice low and humble. I only acted to protect. The tribe fought as one. This honor belongs to all of you. Mira watched, realizing that humility and strength were part of what made him exceptional. He did not seek praise, yet he had earned it in every way that mattered. Later, Mira led Tom to a quiet spot on the edge of the village. The sun reflected off the distant mountains, and the soft wind rustled the crystal leaves. Mira looked at him seriously. I mocked you on the day of our ceremony, she said. I laughed at your silence. I thought it meant weakness. Now I see I was wrong. Your silence is power. Your calm is strength. I respect you deeply. Tom turned toward her, his calm eyes meeting hers. Respect comes from understanding, he said simply. Actions speak louder than words. You have learned this as well. Mira felt a warmth spread through her. She had grown in both mind and heart. The village gathered again in the evening. Warriors, elders, and villagers celebrated quietly but joyfully. Food was shared, stories were told, and children laughed as they played between the tents. Mira stood near Tom, watching him move through the crowd, offering small words of encouragement and guidance. He did not boast. He did not demand attention. Yet the tribe followed him willingly, trusting his judgment and strength. Mira knew then that leadership could be quiet and still commanding at the same time. Chief Arno approached Tom one last time. You have become a part of our tribe, he said. You fought beside us, guided us, and taught us more than any words could. From this day forward, humans are no longer seen as weak outsiders. You have proven your worth. Tom bowed slightly. I am honored, he said. I came as a guest, but I will remain as long as I am needed. The tribe's safety and strength are my concern. Arno nodded. Mira felt pride and gratitude for both men, the chief and her husband. Together, they had survived a trial that would be remembered for generations. Night fell over the valley. Stars lit the sky, and the village settled into quiet activity. Fires burned softly, casting golden light across the square. Tom walked slowly with Mira, observing the village and the peaceful faces of the tribe. "The battle is over," Mira said softly. "But the lesson remains. Strength is not in noise. Strength is in thought, patience, and action." Tom nodded. "Yes, a mind that is calm and focused can guide many. A heart that is steady can inspire others. You have seen this and you now understand it." Mira looked at him, feeling a sense of completeness. His quiet guidance had changed not only the battle but her understanding of courage and power. The next morning, the village held a ceremony to honor the warriors who had fought and the humans who had guided them. Tom stood beside Mira at the center of the square. The tribe presented gifts and tokens of respect. Tom accepted them humbly, offering quiet nods of thanks. Mira saw the pride in his eyes, not for himself but for the tribe. He had led without pride, fought without arrogance, and inspired without words. His actions had spoken louder than any speech ever could. The Varlis would remember this day, and his method forever. After the ceremony, Mira and Tom walked to the edge of the village. They could see the distant mountains where the Drawl had retreated. The valley was peaceful, but Mira knew the lessons of war and leadership would remain. "You have changed the tribe," she said. "You have changed me." Tom's calm gaze met hers. "We all learn from each other," he said softly. "Strength comes in many forms. Courage is not always loud. Wisdom often speaks silently." Mira smiled, feeling complete. She had witnessed it firsthand. She had learned the power of a quiet mind, a steady heart, and deliberate action. The sun set over the valley, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. The village rested. The warriors trained in quiet discipline. The children played safely among the tents. Mira stood beside Tom hand in hand. She had grown to understand his strength, his wisdom, and his calm presence. The Varlis had learned a new way to fight, live, and lead. And in the quiet of the evening, Mira knew that the human beside her was not just a husband or warrior. He was a guide, a teacher, and a symbol of true strength. The tribe, the village, and Mira herself would never forget the lessons learned from the silence of a human who moved with power, patience, and purpose.